All right, so I'm super excited about tonight, and let's just go ahead and get into it. So, if have you ever reached a point where you realize you've been showing up, doing the work, taking care of everyone else, but somewhere along the way, you've lost sight of what you've been hoping for? That's where I've been lately. And today, I want to have a real, honest, and transparent conversation about what to do when you lose clarity, how faith fits all into it, and why we truly can't heal or rebuild alone. In today's conversation, I am hoping that you're able to take away from this, but also add any questions along the journey. If you're new to this channel, welcome to the Life Over 40 podcast. And this is the very first Sunday reset. I'm Jesse, and here we're going to be having bi weekly conversations where we're pausing and having conversations about faith, purpose, and all of the messy in the middle. Today's session is going to be a little bit different, but also a little bit of the same. I had mentioned that I was going to be talking about a book that I just started reading. So this is going to be somewhat of a virtual book club. And I had shared the name of the book that we're going to be talking about is Don't Try This Alone by Toni Collier. And I thought that this book would be really helpful for others to hear about because this has really been something that I've been truly enjoying. And so, in addition to this book, we're going to be talking about scriptures that have been grounding me as well as challenging the way that I've been thinking. And so, when we're in life, and definitely over 40, it's all about having clarity on vision, our life, and where are we going. So, my whole goal for today's conversation is just to give you a little bit something different to think about. And so, if you're watching this live or you're watching this as a recording or replay, I would love for you to type in the comments what's one area of your life where you felt lost a little. I'm sorry, what's one area of your life where you've lost a little bit of clarity or hope lately? I will read each and every one of the comments and respond back because I think that this can be impactful because one of the things that keeps us separated is feeling as if no one else understands what we're going through. In reality, other people are going through those exact same challenges. So, the first thing that I really want to talk about is just some reflection on this book. I only was able to get through a few first chapters, and again, it's called Don't Try This Alone. It's a really long name of the book, but it's called Don't Try This Alone by Toni Collier. And one of the sections or quotes, and honestly, I was going to just read a bunch of her quotes because this book has been really challenging me to think about community. And one of the areas that I had to really grow in the past couple of years is understanding that I don't have to do life alone because of that strong woman and I can do all these things and not relying. And that might be also because I'm the oldest. So I have like this really weird mentality on community. So I've been really wanting to explore what vulnerability looks like for me. To realize that I don't have to do it all alone. And there was a quote that says, you can't heal alone. Deep community is necessary for transformation. And that really hit hard because one of the things that people find themselves challenged to do is allowing others to hold space for them. And I've spent years in building my business, the systems in which I help people building as well, the brands in which I've been working on building. But the truth is, when life gets heavy, one of my defaults can be to isolate and just remove myself from other people. And I don't know if that's something that you can resonate with. And the thing is that we often can feel as if we have to try to push through pain or challenges in private. And yet, what we find is that when we're hiding and secluding ourselves, the pain only extends itself. And we really aren't able to have the type of healing that we truly are desiring. And at the end of the day, we have been created for community and friendships. And so, one of the things that I thought would be helpful to talk about is just give some tips as I'm doing this conversation, because I did figure a good amount of you will be watching this as a recording, but hopefully in 2 weeks, which might be Thanksgiving Sunday. So I might have to push it back. Yeah, because that'll be Thanksgiving Sunday. And I'm sure y'all are going to be with family. So I will have it the first week, well, the last weekend and the last Sunday. No, it won't be the last Sunday. I'll make sure to actually do a really good post so that I can promote it, and you can be aware so you can tune in. But the biggest thing about community is that it's necessary, and we were really intended to be able to connect with others. So I'm going to give you some talk points throughout the conversation today. And for those of you that don't know, I've had my own business now for about 15 years. And this is technically my second recession that I've had to have a company as a small business. And let's just say it is not for the weak at heart. I've gone through two recessions and a pandemic. So, yeah, you can only imagine how that has been interesting. So, for those of you that are entrepreneurs, it is important to know that in business, it's even more important for you to have community. You don't want to do it all on your own, lonesome. And we often can think that success means that it has to rely on you or to not share when you are having challenges. So, all that does, again, is perpetuate this feeling of isolation. And you might have someone in your circle that has a solution that you're looking for, but if you don't share what you're going through, then it's very, very hard to get the support that you're actually needing. And I remember years ago, as I shared in the recent video on being mindful with our spending, I had shared about, I was in my, I feel like at this point, it maybe has been like 7 to 8 years now, or yeah, 8 to 9 years, and I had my car repoed during a season of hardship, or it might be 9, 10 years at this point, in a season of hardship. And one of my friends was like, "You should have just told me. I could have given you the money." And instead of you going through that. And the thing is that in that season, I learned a lot about one, my friends care about me and they want to see me succeed, but they can't know what I need help with if I'm not sharing that. So the thing that I want you to kind of think about, who in your life helps you stay grounded when things feel uncertain. I would love for you to mention them in the comments, and really get clarity. And if you don't have anyone currently in your circle that you can rely on, hopefully this community can be that source for you. Like, I really do want it to be that people are tuning in to these live books, book talks and book club conversations, and people are chiming in on what they learned in this recent book or what's coming through, or even if it's not about the book, but you're just needing some encouragement. That's what I envision for this type of live session every other Sunday. And I know right now we're in the holidays, it's going to make it a little bit difficult to be as consistent, but that is the vision that I have for this. So I was a little heavy this morning, just thinking about what to do next because my business, a lot of things have gone down because of just the different things that are going on politically. It directly impacts small businesses and or our clients. And for me, it's my clients that are impacted. So by the time it hits me, it's a indirect result to some of these things. So I was just kind of heavy and I was feeling as if, like, am I failing you, God? Like, am I not listening? Like, it's what's happening? Like, just really in a transparent prayer because, like, without a shadow of a doubt, I know that I can count on God. Like, He's gotten me through so many things, but it's just like these challenges that keep coming up. I'm like, I don't know if it's just me being disobedient or if it's just something I'm learning in this season. And honestly, I probably won't know. I'll keep praying on it for clarity. And I'm probably even fast to have even more in-depth clarity. So I was had this feeling, and I had this morning devotional that was talking about trusting in God, and I was listening to it while I was driving. I was like, I feel seen because I was asking for some guidance. And here I'm driving into church to serve, and it has this little mindful meditation that really resonated with me. And then my pastor today, let me tell you, like they joke around saying like sometimes you'll go to church and you feel like, man, Holy Spirit must have been in my business and told it to the pastor. That's how I felt in today's conversation or sermon. And so in today's sermon, he was reading Habakkuk. I'm going to butcher that, Habakkuk 2 through 4. And one of the segments of it is write the vision and make it plain. Though it linger, wait for it, and it will certainly come. And one of the things that was hitting me as I was driving, I was like, I haven't really been clear on the vision. Like I've been so much in this space of reacting, and in the last 13 months it's been a little bit chaotic on a personal level that I haven't had a chance to think about anything. And that's to my own doing. If I had to be transparent, it was to my own doing. And so when with a blurry vision, sometimes you just go day to day and you're just existing, and you find yourself sometimes, like kind of like this morning, head on the floor just praying to just find clarity. And um I hit me, I was like, I haven't had this vision, like of what am I, like why am I doing the things I'm doing. It's not just for money, because the thing is then I'm idolizing money. Like God puts us here for bigger reasons than money. The world sells us that it's all about money, especially here in the United States. It's all about money. I mean, one of the favorite songs when I was growing, it's all about the Benjamins. I mean, so we always are being sold to about more money, more money, more money. The thing is, yes, you need money to be able to pay for things, but is that your God? It's not mine, but I want to make sure that you're present to that, because that's something that I have to be really intentional to. So after really reading that scripture, then I kind of was like, where does this also show up again? So I was just in this while we were in church, I was like, what are some other scriptures? And then I remember Romans 12:12, and it says, be joyful in hope, patient in affliction, and faithful in prayer. So sometimes our vision isn't gone, it's just waiting for the appointed time. And the waiting is where the refining happens. So waiting joyfully is key. Like, I feel like sometimes when people are newer in faith, or they may not be Christians, they treat God like a genie. And then when they don't get things their way, then they think that, this is a sham. And it's not the case, because it's very much so about timing and a lot of things in the Bible. So then I looked up another scripture, and I have the Bible here with me. Oop, don't want to hit that. And this is with Escalade. I'm butchering this. Escalades to is Ecclesiastes. I know I butchered it. And that's going to be verse 3. Chapter 3, verses 1 to 8, and I'll read it to you. And it says, there's a time for everything, and a season for every action under the heavens, a time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to uproot, a time to kill and a time to heal, a time to tear down and a time to build, a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance, a time to scatter stones and a time to gather them, a time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing, a time to search and a time to give up, a time to keep and a time to throw away, a time to tear and a time to mend, a time to be silent and a time to speak, a time to love and a time to hate, a time for war and a time for peace. So it's all for based on timing. And what sometimes can be frustrating for people is that we want to have it happen on our time. We're like, God, like, why is this haven't happened? It should be happening. and all these things. And it puts us in this place, in this position where we want it to happen on our timeline. So, with that being said, one of the things that has made it present to me, even in business, even with being over 40, we need to write down the vision again. We need to get clear about the vision. If we haven't even made the vision, or like, make the time to get clear about it. And the thing is that it just really needs to be something that can be small to start out, because any way it goes, God can do abundantly more than what you can even imagine. And keep it simple so that you can still feel attached to it. And if you're someone that wants to automatically do the unbelievable and believe in the unbelievable, I love that for you too. But you have to know what kind of person you are, with that kind of vision. Some people, when they think of something so big, they get riled up and they get excited, while others won't even be able to allow themselves to think that big. So I just recommend for you to think to yourself, like, whatever you are going through right now in life, like, think to yourself, like, what is the vision for this? Like, if it might be for me, I'm honestly looking to for a job. And so I'm okay with having a job, because the vision I have, and I've shared this on multiple videos, is being debt free. I am okay getting a job so I can intentionally steward over my finances to be able to contribute in the places that I want to contribute, that I've been called to contribute to, and allowing myself to have less stress from the day to day with being a business owner. And the thing is just trusting that if that's supposed to happen, and if it's in God's will, the right job and opportunity will come up, and something that won't interfere with what I've already been doing. And I think sometimes it's so tempting to be our own little g God in our lives, instead of just really trusting the big G God and trusting his timing. And that's one of the biggest areas that I would say that I'm very present to, praying about, because I don't want to be sold on what social media says I should be having and wanting and desiring in my life. I only want what God has put on my heart as my purpose and things of that nature. So, what I would love to be able to hear from you is if you could share with me, what's one vision or dream you've been afraid to write down again? And what vision do you have for yourself in the next 2 to 5 years? Share it in the comments. It might inspire someone else, especially if you're watching this as a replay. You'll have time to really just take thought to, like, what do I really envision for my life? For those of you with families, if for those of you that want to travel, like, it doesn't have to be what I'm desiring. I want for you to give yourself the freedom to actually sit here and think to yourself, like, what do I truly want for myself, my family, my legacy? And praying on it as well, because you don't want it to be that it's just not aligned with God's will for your life. And so, with all of this, that's really where this Life Over 40 podcast is coming from. And that's what it's really about. It's taking the time to rewrite the vision, because this podcast is not just another lifestyle channel. In fact, it's the opposite of that. It's a community for women and anyone who want to live intentionally, heal deeply, and rediscover their purpose after seasons of uncertainty. And the thing about it is that I want for you to be able to connect with people so that you don't have to feel like what you've experienced is something that no one else will understand, to remove the shame, to remove the isolation that we sometimes put ourselves in. And if that takes me putting my business all out on YouTube, it doesn't necessarily excite me, I'm not going to lie, but I will do it, because the thing is that there's even freedom for me with being honest about what's going on in my own life, because I know that there are other people that are going through these challenges, that have been feeling the way that I've been feeling, and not sharing it from a space of toxic, like, connection. That's what they call it, positive toxic. Yeah, like, I don't want to connect on a toxic level. I want us to be sharing and empowering ourselves. I want my shares to be powerful and releasing any stigmas, but not to trauma bond. We don't have time to trauma bond, not at no 40 plus. I want us to be talking about trauma and healing together, but not trauma bonding, not at no 40 years old. So the whole goal is that I want us to have some really interesting conversations. And on this Sunday reset, we're going to be talking about books, faith, mental health, business, and becoming. And ultimately, as I'm finishing this book, each time I will be sharing something or a section of the book in which speaks to me. And if you're reading this book, I would love for you to let me know. Tag me on Instagram at Life Over 40 Podcast and let me know how you're liking it, what chapter you're on, because I would love to be able to hear from you as well. And then once we're done with that book, we're going to go to another book. I have some that I want to read, but I would love to hear from you if there's a book that you want for us to talk about next. Because the thing is that transformation doesn't stop at 40. It's just beginning. We're in the second chapter of our life, and we get a chance to continue to improve, grow, and excel in the areas in which we are truly wanting to. So if that's the kind of space that you've been craving, I would love for you to comment community and definitely click on the link that I have inside of these notes where you can join the email list. It's free. I probably will only be sending out newsletters when a new episode is coming out or when we're doing these lives. So if you want to stay up to date on the lives, I highly recommend you getting onto that so that you have that information. And then also, I want to give you some reflection notes for the week. So, I'm going to give you a journal prompt because I am a fan of journaling and getting things out of your head. So, I want to give you a journal prompt. And that is, where do I need to invite community back into my healing? So, where in your life are you needing to invite community back into your healing? So, if that is going to be with friends about finances, if you're an entrepreneur, like if this is going to be a small group, is it reconnecting with just this community every other Sunday? You need a community. You need a community. And the thing is that healing happens when we stop hiding and start having those uncomfortable but true conversations that are necessary for us, because you don't have to do life alone. So here's cheers, I guess, to the very first episode of the Sunday Reset. And it's 7 p.m. Central Time, 8 p.m. Eastern. So I hope that this message has spoken to you. It's a little raw. So you can, when you do watch it live, if you can watch it live, you can drop questions. And that's why I keep looking over here because I have my dashboard. So you can ask questions and maybe even have like a three-way conversation on live. I don't know. Like I'm always open to feedback. So if this message has spoken to you, hit the subscribe button, share it with someone who needs a reminder that hope isn't lost. It's just waiting. So this week, I want you to remember Matthew 21:22. And whatever you ask in prayer, if you believe, you'll receive. Believe again, write the vision again, and surround yourself with the kind of community that helps you hold on to hope until it comes. So, again, comment below and let's start up the conversation towards our own healing and connection. I hope that's helpful, and I'll talk to you next time.